Welcome to the debate. Locking up a small business at the end of the day, it feels incredibly final. You flip the sign to closed, you turn off the shop lights, and you just sort of assume the day's work is done.
Right, yeah. There is this comforting physical boundary. The garage is shut, you go home.
But then, the phone rings. Maybe it's 7:30 on a Tuesday or right in the middle of Sunday lunch. There is this invisible queue of customers still standing outside that closed door. And whoever actually answers that phone, well, they get the work.
Exactly.
And that invisible queue is exactly why the industry is suddenly so obsessed with AI receptionists. But looking at recent call handling data, the real question we're debating today is, does a small business's call volume actually justify for one? I argue the ROI is undeniable, mainly due to the massive cost of missed leads.
And I argue that, the math only really works within a very rigid volume sweet spot. It's really only for specific call types.
Let's look at the brutal reality of caller psychology right now, though. The data shows a live person answers only 37.8% of business calls.
Wow, just 37.8%?
Yeah, it's wild. So what happens to the rest? 80 to 90% of callers who hit a voicemail, they just hang up. They do not leave a message, they just vanish.
Yeah, they really do.
Why? Because, consumers expect instant gratification. If they hear a beep, they immediately assume their car won't get fixed this week. An AI receptionist steps in and acts as this like a watertight net, catching those leads instantly.
The voicemail abandonment rate is high. I will definitely grant you that. But I get very hesitant when we talk about this tech as a universal fix.
Why? The tech catches those leads before they become part of the 62% who immediately ring a competitor.
True. But just because the technology exists doesn't mean it makes financial sense for everyone. We have to talk about operational bandwidth and margins. The sweet spot for this tech to actually pay for itself is roughly 30 to 150 routine calls a month.
Right, but
let me just lay out the pricing here. If your phone is only ringing a handful of times a week with new business, spending money on these tools is just a drain on your capital. Even entry-level software at 42 euros a month or mid-tier tools at 129 euros. It's a waste if you don't have the volume. The tech has to match the reality of your daily operations.
Well, let's look at how it practically functions in the real world, though. We have those 2 real demo calls from Pro Auto Repairs, a garage in Dublin.
Yeah, the Dublin demos.
Right. They use an after-hours package that's 199 euros a month with absolutely no setup fee. In the first call, the AI successfully triaged a car with an engine issue right before a critical vehicle inspection.
It did, yeah.
And in the second, it booked a routine oil service totally seamlessly. It's a 199 euro insurance policy against losing customers.
I'll admit, the audio on those demos is impressive. But I think we need to be careful about what booked actually means in practice. How seamless is that for the caller versus the shop owner? Because if it's just a fancy voicemail menu, the caller's still going to hang up.
But that's the beauty of it. It is not one of those frustrating press 1 menus. It uses natural language processing to actually converse with the caller. And simultaneously, it's pinging the garage's live API calendar in the background to check availability.
Okay, but
it secures the appointment mid-call and blocks the slot, all without any human intervention.
Okay, sure. Booking an oil change is a simple logic tree. But what happens when that after-hours call is, say, a highly heated complaint or a complex roadside emergency like a blown transmission that requires actual human judgment and empathy?
Well, the AI is programmed to...
AI cannot replace an owner's intuition. If your business regularly handles complex troubleshooting that requires a live expert's ear, a robot is going to frustrate your customers even more than a voicemail would.
I think you're underestimating the system's ability to recognize its own limitations. Honestly, a properly configured AI is designed to protect the expert's ear, not replace it.
How so?
It runs sentiment analysis on the caller's voice. If it detects anger or if the caller describes a situation outside its parameters, it knows it's out of its depth. It stops trying to book a slot and immediately routes that specific call straight to the owner's mobile. So you aren't interrupted during dinner for a simple oil change, but you still get the critical emergencies.
But wait, if those critical emergencies make up the bulk of your after-hours calls, or if you simply fall under that 30-call-a-month threshold, what are you even paying for?
You're paying for peace of mind.
You're spending 199 euros a month to filter a handful of calls that you'd probably need to handle yourself anyway. In those cases, the money is absolutely better kept in the bank.
Look, deploying an AI receptionist remains the most reliable way to stop leaking standard after-hours leads. The system proves its worth the very first time it prevents a caller from moving down their local search list.
And I still caution that you shouldn't adopt tech blindly just because you're terrified of a missed lead. If your volume is low, keep your euros.
So for anyone listening, here's how you can actually decide for your own shop. Audit your missed calls over the next week or two. If they are routine, bookable inquiries falling into the voicemail abyss, this tech fits perfectly.
Exactly. But if your missed calls regularly require expert troubleshooting, or if you simply only get a few calls a week, hold off. Your intuition is still your best asset.
It all comes down to that invisible queue standing outside your shop after the lights go out. Are they waiting with an easy appointment or a complex problem only you can solve?
Yeah. Until you know exactly who is knocking, you won't know if you need a robot to answer the door.